just when you thought it was safe to go onto iTunes. This is Next Level Guy, the only website that makes self-development as fun as going to the movies. It's time to take the red pill and escape the Matrix.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Next Level Guy Show podcast with your host, Ian Dawson-Mackay. Today's guest is Doctore Ryan Masters. Ryan is an entrepreneur, adventurer, coach, and a host of 3 YouTube channels, which collectively have had over 18 million views, 170,000 plus subscribers worldwide, and Ryan helps men transform their bodies, their lives, and learn to live a more epic and bolder life. In this interview, we cover how you can stop life passing you by, begin your transformation today, no matter where you're starting from, and work towards achieving your life goals. Before we get into that, first a quick word about my affiliates. I've managed to build up some great relationships with some awesome companies. This allows me to obtain some special discount codes, deals, and listener exclusives. Please go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates for further information. I particularly love the Tribe of Mentors book by Tim Ferriss, the cognitive enhancers, which are called Alpha Brains from onit.com, and The Natural by the awesome RSD Max. That will help your dating life like nothing else. For these and so much more, please check out www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates. And now to the interview with Ryan. I hope you enjoy. So if I met you at a bar and I asked you what you did, you had 30 seconds to reply, what would you say? Why are you so well known?
Well, depending on what mood I was in, I'd probably say I'm an entrepreneur. Like small talk, keep it small. Because I have several different things. So I have, Spartan Strength, which is my men's development and coaching business, but I also run a marketing agency, and then I have a country dance channel where I teach people how to dance to country music.
Yeah, so this is why I was wanting to get to speak to you, because there's such a range of things, that we could discuss. That the story about when you'd helped your parents' business out, and there was so much there, that and there's so many questions, but was there a turning point that got you moving towards change and development and, getting the body that you always wanted? Was it the parents' furniture store issue that caused it?
It wasn't like, it was just, there wasn't like the apex or whatever. There wasn't like a switch where it's like, okay, now I'm going to get in shape all of a sudden. I was always active in some capacity, never quite, I think like a lot of guys, you go to the gym and you're like, okay, I'm being healthy, I guess, and, feeling a little bit of progress, but was never quite where I wanted to be. And yeah, like starting my journey as an entrepreneur certainly helped all of that, because to succeed there, you just have to learn, continually learn and try things and fail and make mistakes and measure. And so I started applying those concepts to my training, and that's when I saw the best results and the fastest results, and by actually doing less stuff. So I was like, okay, well, it worked for me. Let me, share this with other guys, because I'm not a bodybuilder. I think, meatheads and guys like that are, a lot of them from my experience, and I started going down that path, but a lot of them are, a lot of guys start working out because it's like, hey, I want to become, more confident. And I think there's it's okay to start that way, but some people have ended up, attaching their ego and self-worth to how they look. And it's just like, for me, it's just, if it works for them, hey, that's cool. But for me, it's like, that's not the purpose of life. It's like, I want to be strong and fit and look in shape, sure. But my life is not devoted, like that doesn't fulfill my life,
And that's a big thing, is we put so much self-worth in what we see in the mirror, when there's so much more to a person. I really liked that bit on your website where you said that you were struggling till recently, and then you kind of figured out what worked for you. And I think that's the thing, is like so many guys don't even know where to start. And the fact that you could break it down into such easy, actionable steps, Do you think that's why your approach is so attractive to men? You're showing them how to get through the BS of the fitness industry, or why do you think it resonates with guys today?
I think for the guys who it resonates with all the guys who've completed it, because the guys that I work with and help are the ones who are busy men, they're family guys, or they're working and they want to be in shape, they want to be strong, but they don't want to spend 500 hours in the gym, and they don't want to be doing 5,000 exercises, and so when they come across the Spartan Rises, what I teach is listen, the reason if you don't have results, you're trying to solve a lifestyle problem with a workout. Okay, a workout doesn't fix a lifestyle problem. You have to change your lifestyle, and so that's why my Spartan Rises teaches guys. If there's a lifting plan in there, yes, but there's life coaching in there as well, and that's the kind of secret sauce is the 9 weeks of video coaching that shows them, okay, listen, here's how here are the habits we're changing. I never say habits because that's not fun, but here are the things that we're changing. I give them a mission each week, and they accomplish it, and they start getting progress and seeing wins, and then the feedback, the common feedback I get is wow, everything I've learned from this lifestyle program applies to all the other areas of my life. And that's when I'm yes, exactly right. So it's if we're learning one thing, why not leverage it and apply it everywhere else?
No, I really love that approach, that kind of no workout can fix a lifestyle problem. And that's the main issue is, people go to the gym, work their arses off, but they don't fix the underlying issue that's holding them back. Can you give an example of a mission or a challenge that you set them?
Sure. So one of the first missions that we learn is a tool I call the Spartan Strength Ladder, which is a specific way of how to track how much you lift and how to increase the amount you lift every time you work out or every other time, depending how long it is. And so it's a tool that I have guys use because this is how now we have a measurable way to see progress. Because a lot of guys, when they start out, understandably, because this is what fitness baloney teaches, which is look in the mirror and in 90 days you'll be this fitness model guy, which is not true at all. But so guys are working out, they're going to the gym, and they look in the mirror after 2 weeks and well, I don't see anything happening. This sucks. It's not working. See you later. And understandably so, because it's asking somebody to work for free. It's oh yeah, we'll pay you. We'll pay you 9 months down the road. And that's very hard to do. Whereas what I say with the Spartan Strength Ladder is, hey, look, after 2 weeks, you're getting a paycheck. You're going to see, hey, I used to bench, 50 kilos or whatever, and now I'm benching 55. And it's not about comparing how much you bench versus the next guy. It's just knowing, okay, the old me could only do 55. I could only do 50. Now I'm doing 55. In a month, I'm doing 75. It's that simple progression that makes and tracking that makes all the difference.
So where did the interest in Sparta come from? What made you take the ideology and the kind of the fighting people of Sparta and turn it into a business? Because when I seen it, I'm a big fan of 300. That kind of drew me in, but it was actually what you taught made me a fan. So could you go into a little bit, how did you merge those kind of two interests?
It was just something that resonated with me, and I've learned that, again, I'm not here to convince and help every guy. I understand different people follow for different reasons, but I've also learned that, my number one value is authentic courage. So if something resonates with me, then it's my duty to just share it or incorporate it in a way because it's probably going to resonate with, my followers. And so just like you, that movie really resonated with me. I really enjoyed it. And again, it's you always get the guys who are yeah, it's not 100% historically accurate. And it's okay, dude, that's not the point. It's we're just espousing just kind of the values of no retreat, no surrender. And I'm not talking about you need to go out and fight somebody, but it's just in general, every day there's a battle in some capacity that we're fighting, whether it's battle to get up at 5 a.m, a battle to finish this project, a battle to show up and be fully present in your relationship, and so having that mindset of no retreat, no surrender, keep moving forward, what can I do? Spartans, in terms of all the Greeks, like they're a small percentage, right? So not everybody is a Spartan, like not everybody, and it doesn't mean, we're not saying they're better than other people or not, it's just they're guys who knew what they were, authentically courageous. They knew what they stood for. They knew what made their hearts beat. They knew why they were living, and they followed those values to their death. And I think that's admirable in any capacity.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I know there wasn't many Scottish guys leading, like the Greek armies, but
well, you all had your Braveheart, right?
Well, we had a maniac, Mel Gibson, leading ours. It's. I mean, I loved the movie, but obviously there's some big issues with it. But it's one of those things that showed guys what having a true mission in their life and just getting up and fighting for each other. And there's so much to take from it. Do you think that's where guys are going wrong now? That we don't have this kind of mission, we don't have that challenge in our everyday lives?
Yeah, I think that definitely, I mean, it's so complicated now. It's not necessarily one thing, but that's definitely something I see with a lot of guys that I coach. Is like they're wrestling with, they don't feel they have a sense of direction, or they feel stuck, or they don't feel they're on mission or have a mission, or maybe they did and they kind of completed that, and so now like what's next? So they're in this gray zone. And a lot of guys are in this like mental cage that comes from all sorts of things, but just again, with the guys that I'm talking to and what I'm seeing is just like all these, it's really the should cage. So it's like all these things that they're thinking they should be this, they should be this nice guy, should never, ruffle feathers and all this like, almost not like anti-masculine, but just society in general has kind of really tried to neuter guys in a sense. And I don't believe in taking victim. It's just more of just understanding what are the external environmental forces, because to think that you're not impacted by the media, by the people you're hanging out with, by what's on the news, which is why, by the way, I don't watch the news, like that stuff all has an impact. And I think, not having that core mission, that core direction really can sink a lot of guys because they just feel like they're drifting and not living up to their potential.
I mean, every time you speak or I see you in an interview, I hear something like the should container, and it makes me think, I'm like that myself, and it makes you notice these things in your mind, when you're thinking it, when you're saying it, and how kind of we are influenced by everything. You can't go past a shop, building, whatever, without pictures and people's comments and family values and stuff like that. So I noticed you have a thing about avoiding a mediocre life, and you were mentioning there about people not living up to what they could be. What do you think is a mediocre life for a man, and what are the main excuses you see for people? Why? How can they overcome those?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, man. Like the hardest thing that I see, and especially with like guys that I coach, because obviously I get more private time with them, but it's like, this is a lack of self-awareness, and it's hard because just saying that someone's not going to be, it's my job as a coach to communicate that in a way that makes sense. Just saying, oh, people don't have self-awareness, well, that's not, that's true, but it doesn't help someone who doesn't have it. But just guys who, in some capacity aren't willing to stand up and, again, kind of fight or take care of themselves, really. Like the biggest thing I see, because, again, my focus is all on the inner work and the health work and strength for men, and is guys who like live under this like facade of hero, like, oh, I can't work out, I can't train, I can't invest in myself because I have to, do all these things for my family. And so they're like deceiving themselves because they're just trying to sound like a nice guy, when the reality is, in 30 years down the road, when your health's crashed and you're, on all these meds and things, like your family's going to have to take care of you. So you're causing the problem that you're pretending that you're not, that you're pretending to solve. And on top of that, it's like, what kind of example are you showing to your wife, to your children, to your, by not, taking care of yourself? And it just doesn't mean you need to be like a bodybuilder. It just means you need to be proactive not reactive in your life and in your health and in your in investing in yourself. A good question to ask, like, so here's a good self-awareness question. It's like, did you invest 5% of your income last year in yourself, in self-improvement, in taking classes and reading books and hiring a coach and going to courses? And if the answer is no, then there's a good chance, that you are not moving forward to your potential.
Because that was the sorry, I'm choked with a cold. That was the thing about Spartans, is that they had their mission, that it was to keep building up the fighting skills and then you were to die in a glorious death, And I think that's a big thing here, is we don't know what we need from it. So why is your framework power, passion, and purpose? Why have you set it up in that particular way to overcome, the kind of issues you were just mentioning?
Well, I think that's all the inner work that guys, who do want to get to that next level and want to, always be maximizing their potential. That's what they're focusing on. So power, this covers a lot of things. Obviously, there's physical power, but it's more of like the self-control power over yourself, in terms of strength and vitality, yes, but also finances and, just self-control, discipline, all that, passion, relationships, how do you show up in relationships, both, not only romantic, but with other men, with your children, with your family, coworkers, etc. Also passion in the sense that, are you aware of what gives you energy, what you love doing versus what you don't doing? A lot of guys I've seen have become so numb, like they don't even realize 80% of the things they're doing, both in work and outside of work, are draining them because they don't give them energy. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to live a life where 100% of things you do give you energy. That's not really feasible. However, you most certainly can, after judicious study and investing in yourself and working, like, move to where you're always in a net positive energy lifestyle, meaning that you're doing more of the things that recharge you, and less of the things that drain you, and the overall energy that you have is positive because you have more positive than negative, if that makes sense.
And I noticed you mentioned in the video about passion that people get caught up in the activity rather than the true passion from it. Can you go into a little bit about what you mean by that? Because a lot of guys go, I need more passion in my life. I'm going to go whitewater rafting, or I'm going to go for a skydive. Where are guys going wrong when it comes to passion?
Yeah, I think, and it's just the way it's taught. So it's not like they're, something's wrong with them per se. It's just most people think like, oh, passion, I like to ride a motorcycle. That's my passion. Well, no, that's not your passion. You like to do it, yes, but you have to drill down and figure out the why behind it. It's like on a motorcycle, it's like the freedom, the risk, potential injury, maybe it's the speed. So it's the things behind it. So it's like the sense of adventure. We'll just boil it down like the freedom and adventure. Okay, so your passion is freedom and adventure. Well, you don't have to be on a motorcycle to experience that. That's one way. You could go camping, you could, go skydiving. Like that's, so when you drill it down one layer and realize the root of the passion, that opens up the landscape for you to find other activities like motorcycle riding that can help trigger that passion and help you spend more time in it.
Would you do a similar sort of thing for helping somebody develop their purpose in life? Can you help somebody find it, or do you just show them the clues to getting, till they start noticing it and understanding what their true purpose is?
Yeah, you definitely can't tell somebody what it is. They have to figure it out on their own, but you can give them kind of clues and guides. So my coaching program is called The Hunt Within, and that's the whole point. Is like, look, I can't do the hunt for you. I can't kill the beast, but I can show you where they come, and I can show you the best weapons that work for me to figure out mine, and set you up for success to nail down and get yours.
I mean, I love the fact that you're a Doctore, and Doctore was somebody that used to train the soldiers, and was like a coach nowadays, but he was getting the gladiators ready for battle. So do you think we all need a coach? Can guys do this on their own, or have we become so smitten with bullshit that we've forgotten how to find, to really go for our goals in life?
Well, I mean, you definitely need to invest in yourself. So whether that's with a coach or whether that's just buying books or going to a workshop or going to a university course, there's no doubt, you absolutely, like I said, if you're not spending 5% of your income a year investing in yourself, you're just shortchanging your life and your potential, because nobody's born knowing everything. That's just not how it works, Now, the right coach can help you accelerate your learning curve, and give you more because the challenge you can run into is okay, you buy all these books and read all these books, but what if you're picking the wrong books because you're not quite fully aware of the problem? You think you have a relationship problem with your girlfriend or spouse, but actually what you really have is a self-awareness problem of this particular thing triggers you. So it's just a longer journey sometimes doing it yourself versus getting coaching. But also, if you get the wrong coach, they can send you down the wrong way too. So it's I wouldn't say no, everybody needs a coach, but I do say everyone needs to invest in themselves. And in general, coaching or workshops tends to help accelerate those results faster.
And do you have a kind of criteria that you would advise people to use for picking a good coach? What kind of programs would you recommend somebody to go on? If somebody was listening to this and said, "Oh yeah, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about," what do you offer in terms of coaching, and what levels do you offer?
Well, if somebody's looking for a coach or a workshop or whatever, whenever I'm considering getting a coach or even buying a book or whatever, I look at the author and I see have they accomplished whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish, so can they teach me from a place of authority? Not to say that everyone has to have done whatever it is you want to do, but it certainly is a good indicator. If someone is not in shape at all, and they've read all these health books, they certainly have some knowledge, but they don't have the necessary wisdom of doing it themselves. And so for me personally, I'm just not going to waste my time with that. I'd rather have someone and pay a little more who's done it, who has both the knowledge and the wisdom/experience.
No, it makes perfect sense. And so you have a fantastic physique, and you obviously have put a lot of work into it. Now, would you agree with the concept that the body is a true reflection of the mind? How can we find our why for going to the gym, really,
No, I wouldn't agree with that concept, but you can find the whys. Usually it's going to be it's not going to be just you. Just working out because I want to look good is not really enough to do it. Usually it's I want to help other people. I want to be stronger for other people. I want to make an impact. I want to maximize my potential. And if you're huffing and puffing, walking up a flight of stairs, you just aren't going to have that. Business is a competitive sport. Whether you own the business or whether you're an employee, you aren't able to show up as an A player if you're not. It doesn't mean, again, you don't need to be like bodybuilder, but if you're not taking care of your health, because that's a big source of your energy.
So do you think, is there a set of physical challenges that every guy should be able to do? How do you start somebody off in the gym? Is there a philosophy of, do you just start them normal, or do you set it into different challenges and make it enjoyable to them? How would you take somebody who's sitting on the couch for ages, just after a bad breakup, no idea what they're wanting to do in life? What would you start with them?
Well, at that point, I probably wouldn't. I would give them books, or I would tell them, I wouldn't take them as a client. I don't work with guys who haven't even stepped foot in the gym, because that's just not where I'm at. That's not who I specialize with. So I would give him some YouTube videos, and I would tell him some books to read, and some criteria for finding help. But I wouldn't. That's not somebody I'd really start working with.
So who's the kind of ideal client for you? Do you have a kind of a list of characteristics that you want to see in a potential trainee?
Yeah, just that they are in some capacity investing in themselves, and have some experience of attempting gym workouts and things like that. But the Spartan Rises program, like, they can go through that. It's not one-on-one coaching, so anyone can really just go through that.
So can you give me an example of, like, what should a guy be able to do, like, physical-wise, like, because you see, like, in the olden days, they used to carry stones and, like, squat with the logs and stuff like that. Is that something that we should get back to? Should we be outside with nature and work, like, physical body stuff? Or have we just forgotten how to work with our bodies?
I mean, they're just not being used, so anything that doesn't get used, devolves faster. So yeah, I mean, you should. I'm not going to say, oh, well, you should be outside picking up stones, but generally, it's like you want to be able to, bench at least 1.25 times your body weight. Well, I don't know. This is all in pounds, so in kilos, I'm not sure what it would transfer over to. But yeah, there's just, you can just Google, like, how much should I be able to bench? How much should I be able to squat and deadlift? Those are good base metrics to find, to reach for just, baseline strength levels.
So for somebody listening, and how do they know when they've been successful? Instead of, like, how do they know when they're on the right track and things are going towards the sort of Spartan lifestyle? How can I start checking off the boxes and knowing that I'm moving the right way?
In what sense?
Well, is it like that you start seeing six-pack abs? Is it you're happier in your life, you have a passion? Is it a way to kind of say, I'm being successful, or do we never stop learning? Do we never stop having to improve? Is that part of the life purpose?
Yeah, that's what they get taught in Spartan Rises. Is a journey, not an event. So, to me, success is the ongoing pursuit of a worthy goal. So there is no, it's not a destination. It's the journey. So, I would say if you feel like you're making progress with your training in whatever capacity that is, then you are being successful.
So what kind of things, you've mentioned a few times now about, investing in yourself. What sort of things do you do, that somebody who's interested in, learning more about it, is it just like buying books and going to conferences, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, books and conferences, those are big things. I read, 3 to 7 books a month, and conferences, depending on, who you're learning from and what you're trying to accomplish. There's certainly a time and place for those as well.
So what kind of books would you read? Is there any books that stand out that really kind of blew you away with the message that the author had?
Well, it all depends on what, there's more books than anyone could read, obviously, out. So again, it comes down to your selection criteria, which comes back to what are you trying to learn, what are you trying to solve. So, a general good book for guys, a couple good books for guys would be Wild at Heart by John Elridge, No More Mr. Nice Guy, I forget who wrote that, and The Way of the Superior Man. Those are all good, like, kind of discover yourself, be a man kind of type books that they can check out.
Now, I noticed that you've got quite an interest in hobbies. One of them was wrestling alligators. Where did that come from? How did you get into even that concept? Was it for a date that you were? It kind of blew me away when I read that.
Yeah, it's not. So I wouldn't say it's a hobby. It's something I've done. But yeah, it was a one-time thing. My brother was up and I had found the site, and I was like, oh, it's actually in Colorado of all places, in the middle of the United States. And so we drove 4 hours and spent the day. And you start off with wrestling little baby ones, and as long as you don't get bit, then you keep going up against bigger ones. So it was definitely scary, but it was fun, to say the least.
And so what did that teach you? Did you come away thinking, for the love of, or was it more a fact you learned that you can face your fears? Did you take anything from it, or was it just something that you wanted to test, like your masculinity, or it just looked like it was fun?
No, yeah, I mean, it's definitely scary, kind of, embracing the fear. And, with the Gators, they explain you have to, when you're close and you're going to move, you got to move and get them, and don't second guess yourself. Otherwise, you're too slow and then you can get bit. So it was more of just a reminder when you're going after something, go 110% and don't stop.
Well, that kind of perfectly leads me on to my next question. Like the Spartan lifestyle was very regimented and controlled, and they were kind of born into the life to serve, and the women were to produce strong Spartan men, where the men were to become warriors, and you were to die on your shield, or to wear it or die on it. That they were very regimented and controlled. Do you think we have to be like that? Do you have to be very strict in the gym? Do you have to be very strict to where you're eating? How strict do you have to be with a client to really see the kind of transformation? Because you've got one of those amazing physiques, and for somebody who's maybe dabbled in the gym and is a suitable client, but how strict do they have to be with themselves?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say they have to be like crazy strict. And again, I use the Sparta brand somewhat liberally in the sense that it's not I'm not copying every element of their society, but you have to be realistic. If it's 200% strict all the time, it's just going to burn you out, and it's not fun. I mean, part of life is having fun and enjoying yourself. So that's why I teach flexibility and the principles, and it's not about necessarily strict, but it is about being consistent. Again, it's a lifelong journey. It's not a one-time event. So that's really the bigger takeaway I think that needs to happen.
So how would you advise somebody to build consistency? It's something that you see guys go to the gym, they set, like the bench press like a madman, they then start squatting, then they'll start deadlifting, then they'll copy the biggest guy in the room, and then they'll go home and they're agony for the rest of the week and can barely walk, and then they'll never go near a gym again. Then they'll start the same spiral over every couple of months or every couple of years, and then they'll end up just giving up. So, how can you build consistency in the gym? How do we get to doing it routinely?
Yeah, it's just small steps. It's not sexy, but small steps consistently. So someone like that, obviously, the root cause there is they got to learn that that's not working. You need to follow a plan and stick to it, and not do random training, and just make the little progressions with the strength ladder. So measurement and reviewing what you've done are two good things to focus on.
Well, in the Spartan army, the soldiers work together in a phalanx formation, so they used the soldier next to them. Like they helped, like if they failed to hold their shield up in a certain way, it
right.
would then potentially kill their friends and stuff like that. So friends are obviously a big deal even today. So how do you, what's your tips for getting people into your life that are working towards the same kind of goals? Because not everybody can succeed on their own. How can we pick good friends to achieve our goals with?
Yeah, I believe you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with and the books you read. So you have to be strategic about, if you want to set your life on a certain direction and head in that direction, you have to be strategic and intentional about who you spend most of your time with. And, so you have to ask yourself the hard questions. Are they going in the direction that I want to go? And are they leading a life that, I would want to trade places with? And, if they are, then it's somebody, you got to reach out and do the work of just providing value and see if there's a common ground that you guys can connect on.
So, do you network? Like, do you go to conferences with the goal to network? Do you go to, do you trial different activities to go and meet new people? So, if somebody's listening who doesn't really know that many people or has just moved to a new city, how can they start building up that kind of thing? What would you suggest to somebody?
Yeah, it's I would look at what are the activities you like doing and that are in line with your direction, and spend as much time or more time in those areas, and you're bound to be meet similar people who have at least somewhat similar interests because they're doing some of the same activities.
So you've set up an amazing brand, and it's one that resonates with a lot of people. What kind of tips would you give to people who are listening? So say they had an interest in X, Y, Z. What kind of things should they start doing if they're looking to build a channel, a business? How can they turn it from an interest into a business like you've done?
Turn like something they like doing, or?
Yeah, I mean, like you've taken the idea of getting guys into shape. So, say if somebody's got an interest in something, I mean, is there any top tips you could give for building a successful channel? For building like the content, and a community feeling around it.
You just have to. Be consistent again, because it's not something you can just upload one video once a month and expect anybody to pay attention, and B, you just have to know your audience, so you have to talk to them, and see what their problems are, what are they specifically struggling with in this area, and then make videos about that for them that solve their problems, and offer a next step with you, whether that's buying a program or some coaching or product or service, but that's where it starts.
And do you tend to see a kind of standard problem? Is there a range of issues that guys come to you and you can just kind of see the same kind of pattern flowing through it? Or is it kind of ad hoc and depends on the person and their characteristics?
Problem for what?
I mean, when they come to you, do you see that there's a reason for it? Is it that they're unhappy with their marriage, they're unhappy with their bodies, they're unhappy with, whatever it is? What do you see as the main reason for guys coming to you and using your products and hiring you, etc.?
They just they want to, their health's not where it is, or their life isn't where it wants to be, and they feel like they're off course. So something along the way resonated with them, and so it does kind of vary.
So for somebody listening just now, they wanted to improve. If you had to set them 3 challenges right now to go away and start improving themselves, what would you tell them?
Read 10 pages a day and go to the gym 3 times a week, and sleep and drink a gallon of water. I don't know what a gallon is. Let's see. And drink a gallon of water a day. 2 liters. So 3.78 liters.
You're a fast typer. I like it. So we're now on to the point where I really enjoy it. I want to find out more about you, because I've literally still got pages and pages of questions, but I like to get to know the guests. So if I start throwing out some prompts, if you can just come back with the sort of first kind of things that come into your head. For example, what's your morning routine like? Do you have routines that you do during the day?
Right now, I get up and sit down and read for an hour. That's kind of the first thing I do by the fireplace.
And do you bother with things like meditation and things like that, or?
I'll usually meditate for 10 minutes, either before or after I read.
And do you find any benefit from that? Do you use like an app for it, like Headspace? Or?
Yeah, that's the one I use. It's. I think it helps kind of just center you for the day and kind of clear the mind and get ready to take it on.
And if I was to ask you what your favorite podcast was, what would you pick? Do you listen to podcasts?
I don't.
So, what would be a guilty pleasure of yours? You have an amazing physique, but if you were to have a cheap meal, or you were, say, out and you wanted something really evil, is there a particular ice cream, or is there a snack that you just can't say no to when you see it?
That's the thing. The way I teach is you can still eat stuff that's maybe not the best for you. I like pizza. So I do enjoy a good slice of greasy pizza.
Don't we all? Have you got a favourite kind of brand? Is there favourite toppings? If I was to buy,
No, just cheese. Cheese is good.
It sounds like my dating life. Just cheese. Who do you look to as a role model in your life? Is it should we all look to our fathers as the inspiration, or is there people in the industries that kind of blow you away? Who do you look for guidance? Is there kind of certain people that you met in conferences and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what I'm trying to learn. I definitely obviously there's a lot of, entrepreneurial big guys, Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and Bezos and guys who are just kind of thinking differently and running big ships, and just it's always interesting to see how they think and try to pick up some nuggets from them.
So what did their... Can you tell us a little bit about the story about your parents' furniture business, and what did that teach you? The way that you managed to save it with only $500. What kind of things did you learn from that? I mean, I'm sure you've told the story a couple hundred times already, but what did that whole kind of experience teach you? Like, how did it make you grow as a person?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot, because company was almost under, and we had employees and just a lot of things to learn, because I was fresh out of school, university. I was not a business major, I was a history major, so it just taught me, the real thing is it taught me how to learn and learn fast, and that it's okay to make mistakes, but don't make the same ones twice, and that you have to, and also that you have to continually change and evolve, otherwise you're going to get stagnant and decline.
And what would you say is the best purchase under $100, that's changed your life the most? Is there something that kind of, like a gym accessory, or something that you use on a daily basis that's really made your life different?
Probably not. I mean, the iPhone, but that's not $100, so just a book, I guess. I mean, I can't say a specific one, but plenty of books for under $100 that have given me good ideas.
So say if I offered you the chance right now to hold a dinner party, you could have 5 other people apart from yourself, they could be real or fake, alive or dead. This is your dream dinner party. Who would you invite?
Probably George Washington, Theodore Roosevelt, maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi, and
there's a slight difference there, right?
Get someone in there, but yeah, just old guys who accomplished things that I think are admirable, and just learn from what they would have to teach.
And so, how do you like to when you've done your research and you've been training and that sort of thing, how do you like to relax away from it? How do you go for walks and hikes and things like that?
Yeah, I don't mind some hikes or camping if the weather's good, or four-wheeling. I enjoy doing that. And just reading, too, is a good way to unwind, or some Xbox, too.
And do you think, are we ever too late to change our lives? Is there ever a point that somebody can't do something different? Do you have older clients, or do you think you have to start this young to start improving yourself? No, I mean, it's definitely advantageous if you start young, but I have guys who were in their early 70s, so it's never too late. And have you got a favourite kind of, I always call them reader transformations? Is there somebody that's made a transformation that's blown you away, that has really inspired you, that you could talk about? Not really, man. I mean, I don't promote, there is no 90-day body transformation. That's not how it works. It's mindset transformation, and I got tons and tons of emails and stories of guys that have, really, taking it to life instead of life taking it to them. So I think that's something. That's a very commendable thing, because we struggle so much with it. Guys just kind of let life beat them around, and just they just do the same thing over and over. And was it Albert Einstein, the thing of insanity? You expect something different by doing the same thing over and over. Right. So what's a training myth that you wish would stop? What drives you crazy every time you hear it? A what method? Training myth. Is there something that you hear guys go around, you have to spend 7 days in the gym, or... Probably, muscle confusion. It's a dumb one. Muscles don't have brains, they don't get confused. But it's a good marketing term, and that's why so many people think it's true. So what's the overall goal? you started to get into this, to get guys into shape and stuff like that. But what do you want to do with the channel and the business, and what would you like to look back on in 30 odd years and say, I succeeded?
Yeah, I mean, I built the channel. It's just to help men become better men. So for me, it's the inner journey work that no one else really teaches, I think, and that's the harder stuff for guys to do. So that's what I really focus on with this brand.
And for anybody listening, what do you want them to take away from this? What's the go home message for them?
Well, if you want things to change for you, you have to change.
And do you think that's something that a lot of guys are scared of doing? It's changed the biggest fear in their lives? Probably,
but they wouldn't necessarily say that. It's just people are comfortable and they don't want to change. And that's okay. I mean, it's okay if you don't want to, but don't say that you're not getting things that you want because you're not changing. That's, it's like if you're okay with not changing, then you need to be okay with where you're at in life. And if you are, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want more money, more freedom, more health, whatever, then, you have to change.
And what's an unusual fact about yourself? Because I like to have this at the end where everybody listens to it and goes, wow, that kind of blew me away. I'm so glad I waited to the end. What's an unusual fact about yourself that few people would know?
I mean, I don't know if it's not going to blow anyone away, but, I was born on leap year, so I'm 8 and a half, I guess you'd say, or 8 1/4.
No, I like it. And how can we find out more about you? How can we keep track and see the projects and sign up for your your projects, your products, and things like that?
Yeah, you can just go to spartastrength.com or just type in my name, Ryan Masters, into YouTube, and that'll pull stuff up.
Yeah, and the floor is open to you. This is the last question. So anything that you would like to cover, any products coming up, any events, conferences, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, no, I think just, hop on the website and watch the videos, and I think that'll be enough to get you started.
Well, I cannot thank you enough. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been a joy. I always like to highlight guys who I think could help my listeners change their lives, and you've certainly got a great thing going. You've got a great message, and you're changing lives, so you should be very proud of yourself.
Oh, I appreciate that.
That's it for another week. Thanks for listening. Absorb it, practice it, use it. Until next time, keep trying to hit that next level in your life.